Hello, I'm Pete. I'm here to speak to you from the perspective of a separated father, but much of what I say can work either way for mums as well as for dads. My story started in 2001 and spans 2 decades. I have been married twice and I have two daughters, one from each marriage. My eldest is 26 and lives here with me in Sydney. For the most part, I was unable to see or care for her for almost 11 years after she was abducted at age 5. Prior to this, I worked from home and actively cared for her each day. Eventually, a custodial care was transferred to me not long before she turned 16, after which I made sure that she saw her mum regularly despite the difficult history and my daughter's initial reluctance. Her mum and I now enjoy a very good relationship, as does my daughter with her mum. My second and youngest daughter is 17. In fact, it is her birthday today, Parental Alienation Day here in Australia. That is no coincidence. I have not seen her since she was 3, 14 years ago. I think of her most days, and unbeknownst to her, I love her just the same as the day she was born. My hope now is that as she ages and matures, she questions her past and perhaps reaches out to find her real dad and half-sister. We love and await her patiently. It amazes me how easy it is for one parent who's determined to raise the other and to have this accepted by society and our systems of justice. It's easy to see why so many wrong parents find it hard to believe that there is justice. I have heard this sense of loss referred to as a living bereavement, in some ways worse than actual bereavement because, unlike someone who has passed, there is no family event to support or mark the transition and certainly no closure. Your children remain alive but perpetually outside of your reach. I sometimes wonder if there's anything more cruel that one person can do to another. It is a death of 1,000 small, pernicious, and never-ending cuts. Intolerable stress led to unemployment for me, and a downward spiral got going. I became homeless and ended up living in the back of a donated van for 2 years, traveling the country in search of answers in between bouts of crippling depression and suicide attempt. I could not risk asking for help because the very act of doing so placed me at increased risk inside the family court. And so we live in a society in which one parent can simply eradicate the other by making a false allegation that disrupts contact for long enough that by the time it is recognized, it is often too late to reverse. A new status quo is established, one parent is removed. Conversely, the alienating parent is left to bring up the child alone or with a new and unknowing, unsuspecting partner, free to continue making and sharing a false history so that those around them will never know what it is that they have done. When you see this often enough, you come to realize it's a common tactic, and for some, it's a career choice, carrying with it the financial spoils of the family they have chosen to disintegrate. Looking back, I see now that there were more effective ways for me to have dealt with this. I was not aware of peer support groups that might have helped me understand what it was that I was dealing with. My approach to throw myself at the legal system resulted in nearly 40 court orders that were as costly as they were toothless, for the system hates to fine or jail a single mother for risk of harming the child in her sole care. Simultaneously, custodial transfer is such an extreme measure that it is rarely used. Those of us that fall foul of this double bind will recognize the impact of a protagonist knowing how to use a system which is all too slow and powerless to keep up with their contrivances. But there are answers. Time passes and I have a reasonably happy life. I am living proof of that. To this day, I have not financially recovered, but I have found some peace. Most of what I've learned about coping has come from other dads sitting in circles with peers at Dads in Distress. Each dad is at a different stage, some older and wiser ahead of me, others younger and less able to appreciate what is unfolding around them. The older dads keep the younger dads from unintentionally making the wrong step in this custodial minefield. A group of peers, devoid of judgment, who can understand you, working together, multiplying collective knowledge and experience is the best way I know to help any parent struggling with so much stress that they can neither act rationally by themselves or prevent themselves falling victim to questionable professionals or manipulative activists selling a dream, but in fact selling them up the river. In a world where each family breakdown is uniquely complex and in which there are a myriad of options and opinions, Peers working together positively, supporting each other emotionally, psychologically, practically, is by far the best and easiest answer. I believe it is the best way we can ensure that no child unnecessarily suffers the permanent loss of one of their parents, be that by separation or otherwise because of the depth of that parent's desperation. Dads in Distress is unique to Australia, and there is nothing quite like it anywhere else in the developed world. We really do live in a lucky country. Know this and have hope. Thank you for listening.